So, this is our last month, and today I am 39 weeks and 2 days pregnant, which means that the baby can come any day now. And we're expecting that he probably will be born tomorrow or before the weekend, if not tonight, because the doctor checked and saw that the area where the baby comes out is already dilated and feels like the baby is ready to come out. I just haven't noticed any contractions. That means like tightening of the uterus or the sac that the baby sits in, the muscles that the baby sits in, that organ called the uterus. So once again, we're looking at pages from the book 9 Months by Courtney Adamo and Esther Van de Paul. And it says, for month 9, by now the baby is fully formed and ready to be born any day. What started as just one tiny egg 9 months ago has now grown into a baby. He will be around the size of a watermelon, roughly 20 inches long from head to toe. Even though the doctors may have predicted a due date for the baby's birth, nobody knows for sure when the baby will arrive. So Charles, the baby's the size of a
watermelon.
A watermelon. So we have to see if this baby is going to be born soon, but he is what we call full term. So that means that he can now survive outside of mommy's womb or uterus. And we will see. He'll tell us when he's ready to come out. But guess what?
Baby, you have to tell me you're ready to come out.
Yeah, there's a question here. Will the baby recognize his family when he's born?
When you touch mommy's belly, you go to the hospital. But don't touch mommy's belly now, because you're not getting out yet.
Okay.
Baby.
It says, by now the baby will have learned his mama's voice and the voices of people very close to him. Charles, that includes you. He knows your voice. So when
Baby, you have to finish developing. Then you touch me when you're done developing. Or mommy.
So guess what? When the baby is born and you speak to him, he will turn his head when he hears your voice, Charles, because he knows your voice. Isn't that nice? Okay, so Charles, look, we're going to read a book today called Happy Birthday by Robbie H. Harris. So Charles, this is the day the baby is born, so that's why they call it the birthday. And it's usually a very happy, well-awaited day. So let's see what happens. I'll never, ever forget the moment you were born. Out pushed your head, covered with wet and shiny hair. Then the rest of your wet and slippery body slid out, and the doctor caught you with both hands. Uh-oh, Charles. Does that baby look happy?
No.
That baby's angry. He's cold and wet. Suddenly, there you were, a whole new person. Our baby. We saw all of you from head to toe, and we loved you the moment we saw you. So remember the umbilical cord that was inside the uterus? When we saw we saw this pictures of it with one of the other books, but it looked different because now the baby is out of the womb, so now the umbilical cord looks a little bit different. But that's called the umbilical cord. That's how the baby gets his oxygen, nutrients, and everything from mommy. Okay. Now it says, you let out a loud cry, about as loud as a coyote howling at the moon. Can you howl at the moon? Yes. It was hard to believe that someone so tiny and new in the world could cry so loud. But you did. Your cry filled your lungs with air, and you took your very first breath. Even though you were only a few seconds old, you were breathing on your own. When the baby cries, he takes in a deep breath, Charles, and that's how he starts breathing from his own lungs. Look, Charles, you and I were still attached by a long, what's it called? The umbilical cord. I know it's a hard, long name, but they said you and I, Charles, because you came out of me, I was attached to you by a twisty cord. That's the umbilical cord. For the 9 months before you were born, food and air traveled from my body to yours through the cord. Now you didn't need the cord anymore. So the doctor quickly put a clamp on it and snipped it. Snip, snip. Thank goodness neither you nor I could feel the snip. Charles, did you know Daddy snipped your cord? The doctor told him where to cut, and he cut the cord so that way you could be separated from me. It didn't hurt at all. I reached for you, and the doctor laid you in my arms. I was so happy to finally hold you. Your breath on my cheek felt as warm as toast, and your skin against mine felt as soft as wrinkled velvet. Daddy kissed the top of your head, and I kissed your cheek. Then the nurse quickly covered you with a blanket and slipped a hat on your head to keep you warm and dry. Your eyes opened slowly, and you gazed at me for a long time. Look at that baby. He has a mommy and a daddy. They love him very much, like we love you, Charles. Moments later, the doctor took a good look at you and told us how healthy and how beautiful you were. The nurse put bracelets with our family name around your ankles so that everyone would know you were our baby. Then she quickly weighed and measured you, sponged you off and dried you and wrapped you up again. You stayed wide awake the whole time.
We start right there.
Where? Point to it.
There.
So that's where they cut the umbilical cord. And then it dries and it forms what? What's here? It's this little...
Button.
Yes, it forms your belly button. So that becomes the baby's belly button. Daddy scooped you up like a football and held you tight. You looked so cozy and peaceful, all bundled up in Daddy's arms. Your thumb slid into your mouth and you sucked on it. And soon your eyes began to close. Being born must have been very hard work, seeing light, hearing new sounds, feeling air on your skin, and just being brand new in the world. No wonder you were tired. Yes. While you slept, our best friends walked in with a furry stuffed bear for you. Your great aunt wheeled in a bright red tricycle. Your cousin brought you a drawing of her dog, and your uncle couldn't stop snapping pictures of you. Everyone was so happy and so excited to finally meet you. Everyone was so excited to meet you too, Trevor. When you were in the hospital, there was Grandma, Aunt Nay, Granddad, Uncle Rudy. And so everyone came to visit you. Okay, let's find out what happens with this baby. You began to whimper, and suddenly you were awake. I picked you up, and you snuggled into my shoulder. But then your lips began to quiver, and you opened your mouth and cried. I thought you might never stop. Charles, what do you think? Why is the baby crying? What do you think? He opened his mouth. What does he want?
Milk.
Yes, milk. He's hungry. But as I gently stroked your cheek, you took a big deep breath and stopped. Then you squiggled up your nose and began to nurse. You made such sweet smacking sounds. Daddy said you sounded like a baby goat. A goat, Charles. Babies are hungry. After you nursed is just another way of saying that the baby drank the milk from the mommy. I held you over my shoulder and rubbed your back. You burped. It was a loud one. Soon after that, you peed and pooped. Daddy changed your diaper and you sneezed twice. Then you began to hiccup. All that noise made us laugh. We were amazed that someone so little could make so many noises and do so many things at once. Finally, you yawned and fell asleep again, and it was so quiet. So, Charles, when the baby comes home, the first couple of weeks, he's going to be sleeping a lot. So, you probably won't be able to interact with him much because he's going to be sleeping. That evening, Grandma and Grandpa came to meet you. They talked to you about all the splendid things you and they would do together. Go to the movies, eat ice cream, make snow angels, paint pictures, bake cookies, catch fish, build sandcastles, ride bikes, and fly kites. Even though you were less than 1 day old, they loved talking to you. Late that evening, Daddy counted all your fingers and toes just for fun. Then he slipped his big hand around your little hand and he grabbed his finger. And you grabbed his finger. You held on so tight. That's when we found out how strong you were. Soon Daddy fell fast asleep. You fell fast asleep too, still holding on to Daddy's finger. I looked at you, snuggled in between Daddy and me, and I kissed you both good night. You were only a day old, but you didn't seem so new anymore. I felt as if I had known you forever. Happy birthday, I whispered to you, and soon I fell fast asleep too. Oh, we have someone else who fell fast asleep. And he's all snuggled up with his teddy bear. Shh. We'll probably have the little baby coming soon because now I'm starting to get some contractions. So hopefully when Charles wakes up, he'll be able to say he has a new baby brother. Good night, everyone.